forget, if you want to watch it, you're paying for the subscription service itself. Then you're paying another $30 to watch the movie.
Yeah, I found that kind of odd, but I actually found myself also playing devil's advocate, because, like, with Corona, movie theaters are closed.
They can't do movie theaters. My only problem with that is I've never paid that much for a movie ticket.
Yeah, but they're trying to make the money back, and, like, because at the movie theaters how they'll make most of the money back, but they can't do that right now.
I know. But if you're gonna go by that mentality, then you can't base your whole movie's production on one target audience. All the changes made to the Mulan story were based towards the Chinese audience.
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of our Hollywood stuff being held in control.
Hollywood's flopping hard. And you can really see it and feel it, because they are freaking out over everything now. Because they need that Chinese money, but all of their other markets are failing. Unless they fucking don't do it for China. But if they don't do it for China, they don't get that massive Chinese money.
Or they could just make good movies.
Yeah, but that takes, effort.
Yeah, comparing it to Miss Marvel is, goddamn, that makes me kind of sad, because Mulan was my favorite Disney movie for a while, that and Hercules.
We're in the same boat then. As far as protagonists in the old, the traditional Disney movies went, for the animated movies, Mulan was my absolute #1 female. And how could you not love Hercules? He was a lovable moron in this movie.
Just like you.
Right? Anyway, here's the thing though. I will actually watch the Marvel movie again before I would choose to watch the Mulan movie. And the reason for this is I enjoyed the action scenes more in the Marvel movie. Mostly because they had more impact. There's no blood and gore whatsoever in the Mulan movie.
In a war movie.
Anyone die. You see helmets fly off and shrapnel and everything, and the explosion. You never see death. And that's because China doesn't allow that. That's why everyone hates the movie. It is literally designed for Chinese censors, which means it has no real impact. That and the characters don't really feel like they have a lot of emotion most of the time, which, if you base it on Korean and Chinese dramas and everything, there actually isn't a whole lot of emotion in that. Not a whole lot of emotion from a lot of cultural stuff. Because usually, especially Japanese traditional film, there's a lot of reserved feeling to it. But without the lack of emotion, the lack of substance in combat, and the crazy magic shit, the whole movie just kind of comes off as really forgettable and weak.
That's a shame.
And then, if you want the total opposite, and this is where a lot of people would probably put me on a fucking pike for this. Last of Us 2, the game. You know, it's one thing that game did really well. Is it failed at storytelling, in my opinion. It failed at making me love all the characters and everything. But when it came to emotional impact and showing how everything felt, with how gruesome everything was, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I didn't get very far in it. It kind of got ruined for me immediately when I bought it, because I try to avoid that kind of stuff, but it was just impossible. It was all, oh, they ruined blah blah blah, and I mean, was anyone really surprised that Joel was gonna die? When I saw the commercials, that was my first thing.
That wasn't my issue though. My issue was the order the events went in. A good game story is there if you mix around how everything happens. Because the problem with what they did it is, one, they went with the revenge plot, which gets boring after so many times.
Mhm.
Two, they introduce you to Abby as soon, like not even 5 minutes afterwards, she kills Joel. Now, that means you have no emotional attachment to Abby. You have no care about who she is, you have no care about her dilemma, nothing. But after that, you learn her background. You learn how she's been living, you learn what she's gone through, she learns what her struggle is. If they would have put all of that in the first quarter of the game, then did the scene with Joel, then went with the first section of fucking Ellie, went back to Abby, and then did the finale section, I actually would have probably loved that game. I still don't like not having a choice to kill Abby in the end, because I think she's worthless. But that's another problem with her character. Because through the whole game, and you learn this from the other characters too, Abby is a psycho. She's good at one thing, and that is killing the fuck out of people. And even other characters comment on that. And that's the only good thing she has going for her. She's not emotionally available when it comes to other people's problems. Even though she tries to for the people she cares about, but it doesn't really come across. And they even call that out on her. And that makes her really hard to feel for. If they would have did that right, what they should have done was make it that while you play as Abby, you see that half of her. You see her fighting, trying to fit in. Like, trying to understand why people act like how their emotions go, since she doesn't have that. And they could even tied that to her original fucking dilemma, which was her father being murdered. They could have made it more tie-in for that emotional lack. But they didn't. I don't even understand how they thought how they built it worked. And then you have the very end, which actually is really gritty. I love that fight. I'm not a fan of fucking push the button to not dies, but making the final showdown a knife fight that's brutal as shit, and you get a real feeling of struggle and hate, they did well. But not having the option to kill Abby pissed me off. Because I hate Abby. Joel was a bastard. Anyone that tries to defend him doesn't understand his character. He is a good man to himself and to the people he cares about. But from a socially acceptable view, he's a ruthless survivor.
So again, kind of like you.
Honestly, I don't think I could hit Joel's level, not unless something serious happened to me.